The sun is trying its best to come out this Tuesday afternoon, and you can expect a little bit more sun before eventually the clouds do return and the rain will start to fall. Rain does return tonight, leading into 2 first alert weather days due to the impact that it's going to have on your drive into work, your drive anywhere, to be honest. Just being outside, not going to be great over the next couple of days. So if you need to do something outside, my recommendation, do it today before the breezes pick up. The rain will start, and even though we do have some periods of dry time, lighter rain showers in between all that mess, it's still going to be wet and it's still going to be breezy. So we'll unpack that first alert weather forecast coming up in just a few minutes. We're also going to touch base on what is brewing out in the tropics. Jamaica is currently getting slammed by Hurricane Melissa, which technically makes landfall when half of its eye travels over land. We've already seen the first half getting completely over land, so technically making landfall within the next hour or so. So we'll unpack that and talk about other national headlines as well on 19 at noon. But we're going to start with this. Clouds and radar are pretty quiet right now. We did wake up to a couple of light drizzles here in Cincinnati, out towards Claremont County too, but now we're just kind of seeing clouds, at least especially south and west, whereas let me bring you to now. You can kind of see some peaks of sun out towards Franklin, northern Dearborn, here in Hamilton County as well. But I mean, looking south, we're still hanging on to those clouds. You can see it here on our downtown cam. 55 though in Cincinnati. Your forecast high today is going to be 58. So it's one of the warmer days out of your work week, because while this rain is on tap for Wednesday, Thursday, both days highs are going to be in the mid to low 50s. You rounded out the work week with temps in the low 50s for the afternoon. So you imagine the weekend temps are going to be a little cool as well. Those mornings maybe opening up the door to some frost once again, depending on how quickly we can see those skies clear. But the good news is we are going to be drier for a trick or treat. So we're going to be tracking the return of rain 12 hours from now. Midnight is when we're forecasting rain to be lifting into northern Kentucky, which means up until then, we're going to hang on to those clouds, maybe just a few sprinkles here in northern Kentucky, but temperatures on their way up to 58 here in Cincinnati. And then as the clouds inevitably return ahead of the rain, that'll keep temps in the low 40 or in the mid 40s overnight into your Wednesday. So while it's going to be chilly tomorrow morning, that's not the biggest impact. It'll be the rain, which again could be heavy at times for the Wednesday morning commute, the Wednesday evening commute, the Thursday morning commute. You get the point. It's going to be widespread rain, gusty winds for these 2 first alert weather days. This is everywhere in the tri-state, especially Wednesday morning. You're going to see on your weather timeline, it's mainly northern Kentucky, but then it lifts up towards Cincinnati, closer to like 6 or 7. So yeah, entire tri-state, especially northern Kentucky, south. And the concerns here are localized flooding, and then of course any travel disruptions that come with it too. And I mean, we saw this morning, we had just a teeny bit of rain, and I saw my commute go up by like 10 minutes. So you can imagine just a little bit more rain will add fuel to this fire. So let's go ahead. We'll actually talk about the winds first, because you're noticing the winds today, but they're really going to be picking up for Wednesday, Thursday as the center of the storm gets closer. And we know it's getting pretty close because we've got this stiff breeze from the east. Gusts you see here are up to about 15-20 miles per hour, but we're also starting to see some northerly breezes kick in. That's what you're seeing there in Batesville. That little upside down triangle is kind of indicating a northerly breeze, and we see this as the low gets closer. The winds will start to shift around it counterclockwise, and they'll pick up too. So let's talk about the winds, time these out for you guys. Again, today, gusts up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour in the heat of the day. And then Wednesday, 25 to 30 miles per hour. Thursday as well, 25 to 30 miles per hour. So nothing extreme, but you will notice those winds picking up. And you slapped it together with some rain, and you got yourself a messy situation, especially with everyone out on the roads. But you see your weather timeline. Let's look at today. We have some peaks of sun right now. We'll hang on to those peaks of sun, but the clouds do quickly cloud back over. Yeah, clouds clouding back over. Good job, Erin. Anyways, the rain, it will start. I mean, we can't rule out a few sprinkles south of Cincinnati as soon as tonight, but the heaviest rain is going to be holding off until at least midnight and then picking up closer to about 3 to 4. Notice that surge of rain and during the 4-hour period. Here in Cincinnati, expect the rain from 4 to 6. Those north of Cincinnati could very well have to wait, though, until later Wednesday into the early afternoon. You kind of see that light rain reaching Wilmington, northern Butler, northern Warren counties around this time. So perhaps if your commute just sticks north of Cincinnati, looking a little less dicey compared to us here in Cincinnati, but I mean, you guys will get the rain, it just will be later. I mean, look, by 5 o'clock, we're seeing that's, again, another big swath of rain starting to come on in. This is going to be the heaviest rain moving through late Wednesday evening. We got the yellows, some oranges as well. The winds picking up too. If you have practices scheduled for Wednesday, they are likely going to be canceled, especially in northern Kentucky, where we see upwards of an inch of rain possible. And then Thursday, while there are more breaks in between the rain, there is still rain and there's still some winds too. So expect from morning through the early afternoon, especially east of Cincinnati, that's where we see some heavier rain moving through. But by about 4 to 7 into 9 o'clock in Thursday evening, we start to trim off the rain from west to east. It makes its exit. And the sooner we see it exit, the sooner we can see some dry time, which of course Halloween following shortly thereafter. The sooner we get out the rain, the better. Estimated rainfall, like I mentioned, those in northern Kentucky can see upwards of an inch. Those in Cincinnati, half of an inch to an inch, and then lower rainfall totals north. Maybe some of us not even getting close to that half-inch mark. It's just not out of the question. And then Halloween, your trick-or-treat forecast for you guys. It's going to be cooler behind all of this rain, but at least we're seeing dry time. Trick-or-treat time, most trick-or-treat times, right around 6 o'clock. So getting ready for trick-or-treat, 5 o'clock. Temps are going to be in the low 50s, so trick-or-treat itself, expect the upper 40s. We're going to hang on to a breeze too on Friday. So while it's not going to be 100% perfect to be outside, we're at least kicking out the rain much quicker, right? Not seeing much in the way of rain, at least during the daylight hours on Halloween and during trick-or-treat. The clouds will stick around, especially east of Cincinnati, and that keeps temperatures from falling too quickly. Let's see if you have any questions rolling on in this afternoon. JD's tuning in. How are you doing today? What is the weather for Canton? I'm doing well. Canton tomorrow morning, likely going to be a lot drier than us. Thanks for tuning in, JD. And let's talk about Melissa, because while we don't have many other questions here locally, things are, of course, snapping headlines right before our eyes here. So tracking the tropics, let's walk you through this information you see here. This is the latest information coming in from the National Hurricane Center. You can see the advisory, the latest advisory was issued just 8 minutes ago at the top of the hour. So giving us plenty of time to see this new data, in which we're still, of course, at that Category 5 status, not seeing any weakening with this. In fact, I mentioned this during the 11 o'clock hour, or on Fox 19, but the winds, 185 miles per hour. If you're going on based off of winds to determine the strength of the storm, this makes Hurricane Melissa the second strongest ever recorded in the Atlantic Basin. What would make it first place is if it ties 190 miles per hour. So that would be tying Hurricane Allen back in 1980. I mean, without getting into the numbers of it all, this is a devastating storm for those in Jamaica, already seeing high surf, flooding. I mean, the winds that you've seen probably all over social media. This is one of those storms that is going to change everything. That is going to, I mean, it's devastating. the island nation in Jamaica. I mean, it's already responsible for some deaths, some in Haiti, the Dominican Republic, but you can imagine Jamaica as well really going to get hammered by this. See that number unfortunately go up. Not to mention the pressure on this has also continued to drop, and so sometimes people can determine intensity based off of how low of a pressure system this is. This still puts Hurricane Melissa in at least the top 7, I believe, for the deepest low pressure system in regards to hurricanes in the Atlantic basin. So we've been tracking what would be Hurricane Melissa for about a week now, and after tracking her on 19 at noon for the last week, if you remember, it was moving super slowly. We're talking 3 miles per hour at times, and it's over shallow waters that get pretty warm pretty quickly, and so we've been able to see the rapid intensification of Hurricane Melissa over the weekend. So it went from a category either 1 or 2 to a category 5 in like a day or two. And that is largely due to the lack of wind shear, which in order to break apart a storm like this, you need strong wind shear. So we don't have that, but also the warm waters kind of just adding fuel to this fire, the storm. So, I mean, landfall, like I mentioned, is usually dictated by half of the eye wall getting over land. And you can see, I can't pause it for you, but once it reaches its last frame, part of the eye wall is already lifted into western Jamaica. And as soon as we see half of it go over, it's made landfall, which would mean this is going to happen very soon, within the hour at the very least. This is moving northeast, so instead of it's moving more north than it is east, which I know here in the United States, especially Florida, keeping an eye on this. But the good news for us here locally, of course, is that while it's at its strongest now, it's going to be moving more east than it is north over the next 2 days. It'll still be a category 4 storm as it crosses a little bit closer to us. By the time it reaches the Bahamas, it'll be down to a category 2 storm. We see the weakening of storms whenever it makes landfall because you need the warm waters are what fuel this storm. And so if you cut off that source, aka making landfall, you can see these storms kind of losing steam and falling apart pretty quickly. But the issue with where it is now is that Jamaica is not big. It's not big at all. So what we're going to see happen, Melissa's going to be making landfall in Jamaica within the hour, and then it's going to be traveling over more water before making landfall again, and then it's going to be moving north into cooler waters. But the better news here for those in Florida, for those in the United States, those who are vacationing, I mean, look at the rest of this cone. This is not going to make landfall. It's not forecast to make landfall here in the United States, but Jamaica, Cuba, the Bahamas getting hammered by this record-breaking storm. It'll be weaker, but still a hurricane when it affects Bermuda on Wednesday, closer to Thursday night, I should say, and then will continue its path northeast as a remnant low by Saturday. I mean, here in Cincinnati, whenever we see a storm ending up where it is, the northern Atlantic, winds will gravitate and pull towards that center of the storm. That's just how it works. And so what that means for us here in Cincinnati is with Melissa going that direction, we're going to see a stark northerly and northwesterly wind that's going to be pulling in cooler temperatures than what we're seeing right now, which brings us to our 7-day forecast, in which temperatures this afternoon, 58, the warmest out of your first alert extended forecast, but we're going to walk you through it. I mean, Wednesday and Thursday, rain. This rain, while it's connected to low pressure, which I guess if you look at it a little too deeply, it's all connected, but this is not rain from Melissa. But it is rain, and it's connected to low pressure, which I mean, it all connects. But anyways, 54 Wednesday, 54 for Thursday. Both days are going to be breezy because the center of this storm that's providing rain to us is getting closer. So you can expect cooler temperatures in the afternoon, but the mornings are not going to be too chilly. Clouds kind of keeping in whatever heat we're able to gain into the afternoons. As we see the rain make its exit late Thursday evening, those skies are going to try to clear a little bit. So we'll see a bit of sun on Halloween. Temperatures in that morning are going to drop into the upper 30s, and then the afternoon, mid to low 50s. It'll still be a bit breezy, but at least we'll be nice and dry for trick or treat. And then Saturday and Sunday, your weekend ahead, the first one of November, temperatures are well below normal. We're talking mid to low 50s at their warmest, so the mornings are going to be chilly. Saturday in the low 40s, Sunday the mid 30s, depends on that clearing, but we're going to fall back an hour and those temperatures are going to tumble back to near frost territory. We're going to hang on to some clouds though, so patchy frost probably. The Bengals game, it's looking dry, it's looking cool, 50, your forecast high that afternoon against the Bears. I almost called them the Chicago Cubs. They're the Bears. We're hosting them here at Baker Stadium. Monday, spotty showers in that forecast, mid-50s. We do see this little up and down into next week with that rain chance. It's going to pull in cooler temperatures Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you also, Melissa, the remnant low of Melissa, around that time will be due east of us, thousands of miles away. But that's kind of what's pulling in some cooler breezes as well. Let's go ahead and see if we have any other questions coming on in this afternoon, and I'm not seeing any. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in this Tuesday afternoon. We'll have the latest information on those 2 first alert weather days, the trick-or-treat forecast, the first weekend of November forecast, and of course, Hurricane Melissa coming in on Fox 19 now at 3 o'clock. But for now, signing off here in Queens Gate, I'm meteorologist Erin. Have a great rest of your day.